Welcome to a Soccer Down Here special. My name's Jason Longshore. We're looking at the GA 100 project today. This is an initiative that Atlanta United and LISC have announced in recent years, but is really starting to gather a lot of steam as phase 2 of the application process comes to a conclusion in about a week's time. What is the GA 100 project, you might ask? The Atlanta United Foundation and the Local Initiatives Support Corporation, LISC, have launched the project. It is to build 100 mini pitches across the state of Georgia before the 2026 FIFA World Cup. 4 sites have already been chosen in phase 1, and you'll get a chance to hear about a couple of those today. More will be chosen in phase 2. The application process for phase 2 ends on May 1st, and there will be more phases beyond. So if you're hearing about this and you feel like you can put together a proposal quickly, please do so and check out atlutd.com for more information. Do the search for the GA100 project, and you'll find the process. We'll fill you in a little bit on some of the things to potentially include in that. And if you're interested after watching this in putting together a proposal of your own, there will be more phases of application processes to follow down the line. But let's hear from some of the folks who were involved in getting things off the ground in this GA 100 project.
We are the nation's largest community development financial institute. We are over 40 years old. I came on board 20 years ago to manage their relationship with the NFL. We have a 20-year NFL relationship where we have created close to 400 football fields in low to moderate income neighborhoods of need across the country, specifically within NFL team markets. With support from the NFL and with us providing technical assistance. It's just been an amazing program. We've done a number of fields with the Atlanta Falcons. And this is actually how I got introduced to GA 100, because they knew that I've done fields there in Atlanta with them. And it was like, you know what, we can, in this project, we can probably get Bev to do this across the state of Georgia.
So we have monthly meetings, and really the goal of the foundation is to make soccer accessible and inclusive for individuals across the state. So that's like our guiding principle whenever something comes up is this going to hit that goal? And knowing that the World Cup, 2026 is coming up, and we could potentially host one of those matches. It was a no-brainer to we want to make it accessible. This could be a great opportunity with a great goal in mind that could have a lot of coverage to recognize, Georgia and soccer, and then have it tie with Atlanta United as well.
It was a conversation initially with Chris Millman from the Blank Foundation. And I guess they were having their own conversations internally about, what can we do leading up to 2026, the FIFA World Cup games, and what can we do across the state of Georgia and providing opportunities, which I totally loved, for youth and for communities to have access to soccer, as well as football, and not just in Atlanta, because primarily with the NFL program, I was working in the Atlanta area. And they was like, well, we want to go across the entire state. And I thought that was good. And we ultimately ended up expanding our NFL work with them across the state too. So now we're statewide for football fields and for soccer fields. So I totally love that. For me, it is important that access to play spaces in underserved neighborhoods, particularly for our youth, and even for some of our adults. One of the things that I've learned just from the football fields program is the field was important, for youth football leagues to, be able to play. But I also noticed that even the walking tracks around the field were important because our elders got to walk and get exercise. So it's like really a community asset and not just for any specific group, although my focus is really on youth and safety and health and accessibility to safe places. I always tell the story, Jason, when I was a kid, my dad used to say, go outside and play. And never once did he tell me, don't hurt yourself. So and I grew up with brothers, who pushed me down and threw footballs at me and all of this stuff, but just to be able to go outside and run around and play and have a safe, venue, parks and all of that stuff. I learned how to negotiate on the playground, who's going to get on the swings next and all of that. So I feel like these play spaces are important for a number of reasons for our youth. And so I was definitely excited when Chris Millman and Atlanta United, Abby and everybody brought me to the table, and I met with their whole team on their end and talked about what we could do and the value that this is going to bring across the state of Georgia.
Activating these spaces is such an important element of the project, but there's also the idea of soccer programming and what soccer as a sport, as an activity, can actually do for the kids and, as mentioned, the adults who are going to be around these facilities. Getting people active is one, but what else can be a knock-on effect of this? In my career, I've had the opportunity to work in the soccer for social change space, and my time with soccer in the streets taught me that being part of soccer programs for kids can absolutely change their lives for the better. You learn so many different things through participating in sports, whether it's how to get along, whether it's how to resolve conflicts, whether it's just, personal skills, interaction skills. There's so many elements of playing a team sport like soccer that have an effect on bettering the lives of the participants who are involved. Let's hear a little bit more about the impact the sport can have through these many pitches.
When I came here, my first match I went to was at Bobby Dodd Stadium, right? And it was just like all the supporters were just chanting for 90 minutes standing up. And I'm like, I have never seen this before in my entire life. But it kind of reminded me of softball, which I played my entire life. And, whenever we have our teammate up to bat, we would chant, do all these kind of chants and come up with them. So I knew something was, special about that, having a supporter in that fan base. So I started doing a lot of stories with our supporters and following them. And there was a tournament they did at the 5 Points MARTA station at the mini pitch, right? The soccer in the streets. And that really what kind of got me into kids, they don't necessarily know what they don't know. And if they're not exposed to something, then they're not most likely going to try it. And so to have, just soccer in general be accessible to kids and having that opportunity is really what got me, really involved and interested that I wanted to be a part of the committee. I grew up in a small town outside of a city. So I have younger nieces and nephews that, I want that for them, right? Like I want to provide this opportunity or any opportunity that's going to get them off the streets, have a place to go after school.
Oh, there's so many things that are important. One is the importance of youth sports providing some stability for families, for neighborhoods, a safe place to be. Another is the importance of nonprofits that are working in our neighborhoods to be connected to big corporate and other entities that are out there. So it's important there. And racial equity, as we've all become more aware of. We see soccer as a great sport that allows boys and girls the opportunity to excel and to live longer, live healthy lives.
Teamwork, is probably the biggest one of collaboration. I forget who said it, but it's like, you're not going to put the best 5, I think it was a basketball coach, like you're not going to put the best 5 players on the court. You're going to put the best 5 players that work together on the court, right? Like that's how you're going to win games, work strategic strategies and plays to then, score and win. And so with my profession, I can't produce a show by myself, right? Like I can't do everything by myself. It requires a full team. It takes all of us to put every single piece together so it does run smoothly. And so I would say the biggest thing would be that teamwork and collaboration, but also having the ability to time manage. You know, that's a big one. I played on multiple teams, and you know, working at the stadium with all the events that go on, there's a lot of you know, time management skills that have to go with it. So you know, I could go on and on, but it's you know, sports is definitely what got me into the business, right? Why I wanted to work in sports is playing. So it's a big part of my life.
It's an amazing thing for those of us who grew up playing sports, and how much in our professional lives that we don't even think about that time with a coach when we were 10 years old, or that time with our teammates in a tournament situation when we were 12 years old impacts us when we're 30 or 35 or 40 or beyond, and what we do and how we interact with people. Sports has an amazing power, and I think those of us involved in it, you know, maybe know that subconsciously, but this project can harness that power for the good of communities and for the good of kids and families who need it. As I said before, this is going to be phase 2 that closes on May 1st of the application process. Phase 1 saw 4 proposals get funded by this partnership between the Atlanta United Foundation and LISC. 2 of them we didn't get a chance to catch up with, but we will in future episodes as we track the GA100 project from now through the World Cup in 2026. The Bainbridge-Decatur County Recreation Authority received an award to build a mini pitch at the Bill Reynolds Sports Complex in Bainbridge, Georgia. And the Cherokee Youth Foundation in Canton received an award to build a field at the Harmon Field Park in the Sunnyside neighborhood of Canton. Those are 2 that are being worked on. The Cherokee Youth Foundation pitch might actually be the first one to open, and we will be all over that when it opens. We'll hear more about the foundation and how they plan to use the mini pitch. 2020 was a tough year to start a project. It was a tough year to follow through on the next steps of a project when it's awarded, and our friend down in Coastal Outreach Soccer in Brunswick, Georgia, Shawn Williams, founder and executive director of the organization, had a chance to talk to us about what that project will do and just the challenges in 2020 of trying to get things done. He's excited to get the field up, and let's hear from Shawn right now.
We were delighted to be given an opportunity, one, to submit an application for consideration, and just overjoyed about being one of the 4 that was selected for this initial rollout to be able to start this process of growing soccer in the state of Georgia in communities that are really underserved, to create more access for children. And so what our plans are is that we're going to build a futsal court. We're going to take an existing tennis court that's in a neighborhood in one of our city parks, and we're going to convert it into a futsal court. So it's surrounded by, you know, we have an elementary school within 20 feet of the park, and 2 housing apartment complexes that are across the street. So it's really centered in a great neighborhood to be able to give access to a bunch of first generation soccer players we hoping to grow out of it.
The 4th project in phase number 1 is going to be programmed by the Sweetwater Mission in Austell, Georgia. They're going to use their grant to build a mini pitch at the South Cobb Pocket Park. This is a unique project, and Cobb County Parks is heavily involved in it and was able to really put this partnership together to benefit the community and bring different stakeholders to the table. Let's hear from Tom at Cobb County Parks about how that came to be.
We came in after that relationship had formed, but my understanding of it is, they're the Sweetwater's mission. They've been around since the 60s. I mean, it's a pretty impressive organization, but they provide family services, which include activities for families, that sort of thing. They have a food pantry, clothing bank, and work training, that sort of thing. I think what appealed to them was it's in their neighborhood. It's part of the community that it would support, part of the community that they're in. But when the idea came up that to include not only the mini pitch but the community garden, that kind of that is parallel to one of their main missions.
Tom hints at it there at the end. These projects can take on very different looks between different awards that happen around the state. Some are pretty simple and what you might expect, a very simple mini pitch project that will have a field, will have some goals up, will have kids the ability to play on it. There'll be some open play for the community. There'll also be programs that are run on it. Others are part of a bigger vision, and that's one of the more unique angles of this GA 100 initiative is it's not limiting. If you have an exciting project that would include a mini pitch for kids to use and a community to use, this is something that the Atlanta United Foundation and LISC want to hear about. They want to find those partnerships where you bring different organizations together to maximize impact. It's something Dale Royal mentioned earlier from LISC Atlanta. You've got to find ways to bring different groups to the table here and not have everybody working in their own silos. If you work together, you can do so much more. Let's hear from Shawn and Tom about their individual projects and a little bit more about the different types of projects that you'll see across the GA 100 program.
It's going to be awesome. One of the things that we've done is try to be able to mix surfaces that the kids are playing on. We play a lot of small-sided games, and to be able to. And one of the other things is that we want to bring soccer to the kids. Versus a lot of kids that we serve like transportation or parents are working, 1 to 2 jobs. And so their availability to get their child to a training session or to games. And so we've always, for our last 16 years, is saying, hey, we're taking soccer to the community. We're going to be in your neighborhood delivering services. And so to be able to have this court there as a very attractive and vibrant piece with Atlanta United logos on it, I mean, it's just going to be so inviting, for kids to be able to just walk over there. Within 2 blocks, I'm on a soccer court.
That's just kind of the way we think about things. We get excited about projects like this, and there's a lot of that excitement comes from the community. It's almost a well-worn path for us. If we have a piece of property that we're going to do a master plan on, we think about what's the main purpose for it. In this case, a soccer pitch in the community garden. But then for folks, let's say parents, bring their kid to play a scheduled soccer match. Well, what are they going to do? While the kid's playing. So we think about other things that we can do in the same space. And so, that's why we added, things just tend to grow in that way. And right now, as we talked about, the master plan is just, it's a nice drawing on a piece of paper. But it's a good drawing. And if we were able to do it all, I think it would be really successful. But, that's why we added, there's walking loops with exercise stations. There's a playground for if the kid who's playing has a younger sibling, for example, or even an older sibling who wants to work on play on a playground. There's benches to sit on. There's some small open spaces. We're not talking about a big area here, but then there's little grassed areas that for just sit and feel like you're in a park. So that's how it all sort of grew. I mean, it started out with the kernel of the mini pitch, and it's just grown from there.
Very different kinds of projects throughout the GA 100 program. This phase 2 that closes on May 1st, where applications are being accepted, 16 mini pitches will be funded. Now, the grants require a minimum community match of dollar to dollar, up to $75,000. So it does require the community to be fully invested in it. You're going to hear a little bit about what people are looking for in these proposals and maybe some tips on how to be successful with your proposal for the GA 100 program. If you're interested in learning more, you go to atlutd.com/Georgia-100. And the eligibility for this program, you have to be a community-based organization, an elementary, middle, or high school serving a neighborhood consisting of primarily of low, moderate income families and individuals within the state of Georgia. Schools, if it is a school, the community has to have access to use the field. It can't be locked up outside of school hours. The organizations have to have at least one full-time staff member. It can't be an all-volunteer organization. They have to have 3 years of history, 3 years of existence serving the community. There also has to be a track record in real estate development, community development, and or athletic programming. That's the wide net that's being cast here, because you can bring different things to the table. If somebody comes in who is accustomed to developing unused portions of a community, great. That can be useful here. If it's somebody who comes in who is a sports serving organization, great. That can be useful here. You also have to have 501c3 tax exempt status or school tax exempt status. And again, you've got to be located in the state of Georgia. 100 mini pitches is the goal. After phase 2, 20 projects will be funded. Let's hear a little bit more from the stakeholders on how you can be successful in that application process.
The first and foremost is the impact on the neighborhood and the community. What is the impact this is, going to have? And only those proposals, to be honest, that we're looking at really strongly and considering are those that are located specifically in moderate to low income communities, those communities that really need it. And within the state of Georgia. So it's across the state of Georgia. It's not in one particular area. And I want to know specifically, I want them to state, how are these field improvements going to benefit the community overall? The soccer, what are the number of people that are going to be able to use it? How many youth are going to have access to this? What about adults, programming, what I want to see really is, if you're saying that this is going to be a major impact on this community, I want to see support letters from neighboring groups in the community, from your elected officials, from businesses. I want to know that the entire community has some skin in this game. And so, because for us, LISC, we're going to walk away once it's done, and then it's going to be left to the programming. So we want to know that there's actual programming and a maintenance plan going forward. We want to know that it's going to sustain itself after we walk away, because this is for the community. So this is for you. And that's what I loved about working with Atlanta United and with the Blank Foundation and everything. I really believe, they really get the whole sense of community involvement and community engagement.
One is, you really want a local stakeholder who's really going to be involved, because it's not just about building it. It's got to be maintained. It's got to have programs, right? It's just a field. You want to have active youth involvement and parents involvement. So finding the right leader partner in the community is key. Money is important. It's about $150,000 to build a field. This partnership is paying for half of that. So you need somebody who's going to have cash available to build. Hopefully there's a great connection to some neighborhood youth as well, who are really going to plug in and be involved. Those are the key ingredients.
This is a great way to be able to reach and engage children. Atlanta United has been just wonderful to work with. The process is not too overbearing. They are there to provide the technical support with assisting you with putting your applications together. They want to see they want to see us, as a state, be successful in rolling out, these 100 courts by the 2026 World Cup. So I would just say, definitely reach out to Atlanta United, reach out to us. We are here to provide that assistance, and it's going to be a fabulous way for you to engage a lot of children in their neighborhoods.
I'm excited to see phase 2 and who's going to win this phase of the award process. This will get 20 projects funded around the state. When you start to do the math, and you think of how many kids can benefit from having a mini pitch in their community or associated with a program or a nonprofit that they're a part of, you're getting into, hundreds of kids per mini pitch that goes up. You're going to have 20 projects funded at the end of phase 2. That's a lot of kids. Then you're going to go 5 times that between now and 2026. And you're going to have a lot of kids who have access to play soccer, but not just to go out and play and there not be anything else behind it. There's going to be programming backing this up. There's going to be coaching going on. There's going to be life lessons that are taught through the game at these sites. It's not just getting the kids scoring some goals on the court. It's going to get these kids with the ability to score more goals off of the futsal court, off of the mini pitch, and in their lives going forward. You're going to see kids who go on from getting an opportunity to play or even be introduced to the game on one of these mini pitches. You're going to see kids go on and play in high school. You're going to see kids go on and get an opportunity to go to college and play. You might see some kids who get an opportunity to join Atlanta United's academy as a part of this initiative. And maybe, just maybe, you get a chance to see a kid who puts on that Atlanta United jersey at Mercedes-Benz Stadium at some point down the line. That's what can happen when there's investment in the community and there's partnerships that bring all of it to fruition. I can't wait to see what's next with the GA100 project. We're going to be part of telling the story here at Soccer Down here with projects when they open. We're going to get a chance to check back in with Shawn down in Brunswick with Cherokee and their project, which looks like it's going to be the first one to actually have a grand opening, and with 16 new projects that'll be part of phase 2. Again, if you're interested, atlutd.com/Georgia-100 to find out if you're eligible, to get the application process. You've got time for phase 2. It closes on May 1. There will be a phase 3. There will be 80 more projects to come between now and 2026. Love this initiative from the Atlanta United Foundation and LISC. Thanks to everybody who took some time to tell us about it. And most importantly, thanks for everything that all of you are doing to make our community a better place and using a game that we all love to do that in soccer. So thanks for taking the time to watch this SDH special. We've got more coming on the GA100 project. Good luck to everybody who applies for phase 2. And we can't wait to see kids playing soccer on these mini pitches all over the state of Georgia.